Hello everyone. Hi, it's me, Eve. How is everyone doing today? I hope well. I'm on my lunch break from work. I'm making this quick video because I received an email asking me some very specific questions. So I wanted to answer those questions. I don't know if I'm going to be able to touch on all of them on such a short period of time. I am about to publish my book, like I said, on October the 19th. I don't want anybody to not be able to read this. I am not a doctor. I have a religious credential through the Therapon Institute. I'm a certified belief therapist through them, which I said is a religious credential. So I want to talk about what is schizoaffective disorder. I'm going to put on these reading glasses for a second. The Mayo Clinic defines schizoaffective disorder as someone having, I'm going to kind of just read from the Mayo Clinic's definition, which is in my book, which will be in my book. It has this definition. Schizoaffective disorder symptoms may vary from person to person. People with the condition experience psychotic symptoms such as hallucinations or delusions, as well as symptoms of a mood disorder, either bipolar type or depressive type. Bipolar is when you can go up or down, experience mania or and depression, where some people are just the depressive type. The course of schizoaffective disorder usually features cycles of severe symptoms followed by periods of improvement with less severe symptoms. So it includes delusions, having false fixed beliefs despite evidence to the contrary, hallucinations such as hearing voices or seeing things that aren't there. Okay, and then the rest, it talks about symptoms of depression such as depending on the bipolar depressive type, and it could include periods. Well, this just goes into the same thing. It's just kind of repeating itself. But basically, people diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder are impaired in communication, such as only partially answering questions or giving answers that are completely unrelated, or impaired occupational, academic, and social functioning. That's usually impaired. Problems with managing personal care, including cleanliness and physical appearance. Okay, so that's the only definition I'm going to give right now. So basically, there's a lot of hallucinations and delusions are involved. I will say this. So the person who asked me questions asked me what kind I had, what I was hearing, what kind of hallucinations were I having, do I still have any, do I have any delusions? And so I'm just going to focus on that part right now. And did my diet change? So I'm trying to find something else I'm going to read to you in a second. So I'll just get right to this point right now. Basically, according to Eric Gondwy, but there's body sensations, there's perception, basically it includes seeing spirit beings that other people cannot see. Auditory sensing, this is where one's sense of hearing can hear voices of spirit beings that other people cannot hear. Olfactory sensing, where one's sense of smell can smell odors in an environment other people cannot smell, and then sensing a present. So what did I experience? So I had the auditory sensing. I had olfactory sensing. I could smell things that were not there. I could sense a presence. I also had the body sensations, which include, according to Gondwy, he wrote this in his book, the Christian Book of Deliverance. I think it's in several of his books. It talks about these demonic manifestations, body sensations, where they include real or imagined feelings of movements in the body, temperature, heat flow, and pulsation. Other experiences can include out-of-body experiences. Okay, so I had a lot of energy flowing in and out of me, but I also tasted things that weren't there. For instance, I would think I was throwing up demons. They were coming out of my mouth, and I could taste them. I could feel pain. I could feel like I would hear something was sticking their nails in my feet, and I could feel pain from that. I would experience actual physical pain. I could hear my body cooking. I would feel pain, like my body was on fire, like it was burning. I could also, the only thing I ever saw was my table shake a little bit once, and then there was like a swirling. I could sense a swirling around my feet and thought I saw like a blur. That was it. I didn't have any more visual, what the secular world would call hallucinations, just auditory mainly. But and the type of voices I would hear were not just random voices. Like, these were deep, long, moral, theological conversations. It turned into that. It got really, really strange. And so so that's that. That's what I would hear, and those are the kind of things that I experienced. Now, as far as in today, after I give my life to Christ, so this person asked me, what did I do to get rid of it? Well, I didn't do anything. So, I said I turned my life to Christ. I repented, and I read Gandhi's books, and I started reading the New Testament. And the first 4 books of the New Testament are the gospel. And I started reading Jesus' teachings, and I started praying for my salvation. And I tried to stop talking back to the voices, even in my thoughts. And what I did was I sought a relationship with Christ, and I asked for him to deliver me from everything demonic and to save me. That's all I did. And the night that he did was a night when I was coming down off of a street drug. Now, where I was at that point, this was 10 years ago, I was already battling an addiction to Adderall because I had been diagnosed with ADD. So I had only been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, I think it was 2 years. Well, I was having the symptoms of it 2 years prior to that date, 10 years ago. So I only had schizoaffective disorder for 2 years, at least as far as I know. I never hallucinated before in my life. I did not start hallucinating and having those things until I started meditating and doing New Age meditation and asking God, a God, I quote, not God the Father, not a real God, but what the book The Secret labels God, which is not true. I'm asking the universe to give me what I wanted. That's when I started having problems, okay? Because I started going into occult stuff. So a lot of people in the occult have experienced the kind of things that I've experienced. Also, a lot of people who take Adderall and abuse it, which I was doing both, can have drug-induced schizoaffective disorder or schizophrenia or whatnot. I had the bipolar type. I was up and down. But so I didn't heal myself. So when I woke up after giving my life to Christ, I wasn't just delivered from schizoaffective disorder. Okay, so this is what, people are like, it wasn't just that. So the voices, I never heard another auditory voice again, ever like that, ever. Did I have some strange thought in my head where I'm like, is that from me? Is that from Jesus? Is that from the devil? Yes, but not, that's nothing. Like, I was hearing things from the air, like they were real people in the air. And I never had any more smelling sensations either. No more burning, no more pain. Zilch. None of that since. It's been 10 years. None of that. One night, I think I was up a couple of days, and I thought I heard my mom say my name. That was it. Something like that. But that's it. So no, I have not had any more symptoms. My diet, I didn't change my diet. So my diet was horrible before. So before I was battling Adderall, addiction to Adderall, I had been diagnosed with ADD. I was going through, had been diagnosed with severe depression, severe anxiety. So after I gave my life to Christ, I no longer wanted to do drugs, recreationally, or I didn't want to do any drugs. And I didn't want to take my Adderall anymore. And I felt good. And I was delivered right then from drug addiction, from Adderall as well. And I was delivered from depression, anxiety, being messy, sloppy, laziness. Oh, this list could go on and on and on. I was delivered from believing I was worthless. I was delivered from believing that there was no purpose to my life. I was, so ever since then, I gave my life to Christ 10 years ago, I have not done any illegal drugs. Haven't smoked cigarettes either. So the cigarette smoking lasted a couple more weeks, and then maybe a month, and then I was delivered from that. I couldn't smoke cigarettes anymore, and I smoked for 20 years. So I wasn't just delivered from schizoaffective disorder. So Jesus Christ delivered me from all that. Now, with that being said, I didn't change my diet. So he changed me. He changed me. So after the very next day when I woke up, I was already experiencing a big changes in my life. Huge. Like, I didn't even understand what's going on. I started craving health food. Before then, I was eating powdered donuts, Whataburger, smoking cigarettes, and taking Adderall. I barely ate it all. I was a size 0 at Old Navy, a size 0. Okay, so I was fading away. I probably would have died. Plus, I was doing drugs. On top of that, I had just done some street drug. On top of that, and the night that I was coming down off of that, experiencing agony, I gave my life to Christ, and he met me right there in all of my sin, right when I'm coming down off a drug, right when I'm a mess, and all that, and he delivered and he saved me. He answered my prayers, and when I woke up, everything was different. I know my story is extreme, but there are other people with stories like mine. I'm just so amazed, and I tear up. There are other people with stories as dramatic as mine too on YouTube. You can hear them. You can hear them on I Am Second. I believe it's iamsecond.com. You will hear them in churches. You'll hear them in churches. That's why you don't hear them on CNN. You probably will never hear them on CNN. You may never even hear them on Fox News. You may not hear them on any news media channel, but these stories happen all the time. It's just I never knew that miracles happen like this all the time until after it happened to me and I went to a church, and then I started hearing other people's stories. This stuff happens all the time. These miracles happen all the time. You just don't hear about it, okay? Because people don't want you. There's certain, their media has a lot of control over who gets to hear what. Okay, that's why thank God we have the internet and we can share these stories with each other. So my diet only changed because God changed my diet. Now I try to eat mainly organic food. I'm very picky about what I eat. I drink more organic milk. Even when I'm broke, I'll spend my last $7 on organic milk. Number one, because it has no hormones or antibiotics in it. But number two, it also lasts longer than the expiration date. So I get more for my money. So yeah, it's a little more expensive, but it lasts longer. I'm very picky about meat. I will only eat certain chicken. I don't eat beef really. Occasionally I'll have a hamburger, but I'm just real funny about what I eat. I usually eat Amy's Kitchen food. I like organic ingredients if I can afford it, but sometimes we can't. I can't afford to buy everything organic. There's certain fruits I don't need to buy that's organic, like bananas, because it has a peel. I don't worry about it. I like to avoid pesticides, so I will usually buy organic grapes. If I'm gonna eat grapes or apples, they'll be organic. What else do I eat that's organic? I also try to stay away from bread now. I've noticed that helps. I feel more energetic not eating hardly any bread. Instead of I'll get a Caula Power pizza, which are really, really good. It's pizza on cauliflower. It tastes delicious, and I think it's better for us than dough and bread. And so I try not to eat those things. I have a really bad sweet tooth though, so I will cheat, and I still eat chocolate, and I'm working on it. If anything, the only vices that I have right now would be chocolate, sugar, and caffeine. For instance, today I've had 1.5 cups of coffee, which I don't even need more than 1 cup. I shouldn't even have 1 cup of coffee. I probably don't even need 1 cup because God gave me energy. Before I didn't have energy, which is why I was battling. I was always lethargic, so he delivered me from that too, obviously, because now I have so much energy. I don't know, if I could do cartwheels, I would, but I can't. And to let you know where I am as far as age, I don't really care about sharing my age. You hear women mind about sharing how old they are. I am 48 years old. I am 48 years old. I have 3 adult children that I've had biologically. I have a granddaughter. So this person who wrote me wanted to know about had anybody told me that I've been completely healed from schizoaffective disorder. Well, my psychiatrist that I was seeing said I was. Okay, she did not meet with me in person. She told me that over the phone, and we had been in close contact. She'd even come by my apartment before. I really, really liked this woman. She was very sweet. As far as evidence, I have evidence on www.evematheny.com. Matheny's MATHEMY.com. On that website, if you want evidence, okay, we already know that the Mayo Clinic says that people that have schizoaffective disorder have trouble in their occupation, socially, and their college, and with their college education, with their grades, or performing academically. Let's just say that, performing academically. I'm sorry, I'm trying to rush through, and I just, because I'm on my lunch break. So I went back to college, and my grades are better than they've ever been, even before I got schizoaffective disorder. My grades are better than they were before I got schizoaffective disorder, or before I say I got it, before I got with the world label schizoaffective disorder. And my job performance went up. So I know that because I started getting job reviews at different jobs, and I was excelling in my jobs, and I've gotten lots of bonuses, lots of raises, blah, blah, blah. Tons. As a matter of fact, I can't even do some of the jobs I was hired for. I was hired for one job. I had no idea what I was doing. They wanted a paralegal. They wanted me to interpret contracts, which was fine. But they wanted me to do compliance and all these other things. And I really wasn't used to interpreting contracts. I was used to just basic litigation. But that day, I remember praying for God to help me do my job. I still rely on Him 100%. Now, I prayed for Him to help me do my job. I said, if you want me to do this job, Lord, I'm asking you to do it for me, do it through me, because I can't. And I'm telling you, it wasn't 10, 15 minutes later where everything became clear. I was getting it, and I got it. And He showed me how to organize it, and we did it. And not only that, I took a bid that the company had lost before, and I edited it, redid it, and all that, submitted it, and I won a bid and brought in over $4 million for the company. So that was God that did that. That wasn't me, okay? Because when I would write that, I would pray about it, and you can hear the Holy Spirit in different ways. You can hear Him in your thoughts. You can also hear the enemy, so it's hard to discern. You can hear your voice. But there's also sometimes with the Holy Spirit, there's just a knowing, when you just know God wants you to do something. And I know some people are going to think this sounds crazy, but He was teaching me how to write that night, and I was listening very carefully, and that's the bit I won. And not only did that happen, the base, I think it was an Army base, called to compliment whoever wrote that. And so the compliment goes to Christ. Obviously, He's the best writer, but do I write like that all the time? No. A lot of times I'm just rushing through trying to write. I'm not sitting there trying to listen. I'm not sitting there listening to every word God's saying to me, which I need to slow down and do that, because I do have blogs that need to be rewritten. If I sat down and took the time and listened to God, they would look a lot better than they do right now. But I work full-time, so this ministry is something that I do part-time. I wish I could do it full-time. This is something I love doing. I have so much material. I have so much to share. I have been through so much. As far as my grades, they're listed. You can see all my grades.